How's it going there, folks? Welcome back here to a Thursday. It is the Earthmaster out here. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone out there. April 11th, 2024, 10:04 a.m. here, California time. Latest activity shows a 4.1 earthquake here into the area of the Indonesia Islands region. All right, before we get into earthquake activity, I want to chat about this asteroid here that I was monitoring yesterday. 2024 GJ2. We are very close here to interception, so to speak, off of the Pacific. Now, this is not to scale in terms of the size of this asteroid. This is literally only an asteroid the size of about 3 meters, so that's going to be 9 feet or so. Very close proximity there to the area of the Pacific Ocean. Now, this model here shows that we should be getting close to it in about an hour and a half or so in terms of the potential impact. If it does impact, they are claiming, the NASA folks, they're claiming that this asteroid is going to be approaching about 11,000 kilometers, or excuse me, 11,000 miles, which is 18,000 kilometers from the Earth here. So that's going to be the closest approach of this asteroid named 2024 GJ2, which is estimated around 9.4 feet, so size of a car. And, you know, had this been nighttime viewing out here, may see it, and it got really close to the Earth, even closer than this, then that would create a neat little fireball. But a little uncertainty onto the exact location of where this thing could intercept, so to speak. Now, I want to make sure I don't forward this too much here. Last time I did that, we went way into the future. But even on this model right here, shows a very close approach there to the planet. 11,000 miles is not that far. Bring this up right about here once again. It is very close here. Literally like just skimming the Earth, so to speak there. Earth in the blue line, that's the our orbit. 2024, the asteroid's going to be in the white line. And notice how it does intersect awfully close. On this model here, it shows that it would be roughly the same region. It looks like over the Pacific. Let me zoom in. I can't zoom in any more than this. Kind of hard to see the globe, but it does look like somewhere over the Pacific area. If that were to, get pulled in to the Earth region, but it should be happening fairly soon. This is a forecast for 1900 UTC time, and if we go back. That's 1800. This is 1900 here. Not quite 1900 on our current time. The current time frame here is going to be 1705. So like in an hour and a half, this thing could get super duper close to the Earth. That's the forecast time there, about 1900. And I couldn't find a whole lot of information on this yesterday. I looked a little bit. Now people are starting to pick up on it because this asteroid was just discovered literally 2 days ago. But as you can see, once again, awfully close. I wish I could figure out the way to put this to scale. I tried all of the settings out here, and far as the specific size of this asteroid here, I don't see any way to bring that down to scale. Either way, that would be a super small dot here on the map, and it just skims above the Pacific Ocean out there a little bit, but very close, extremely close in terms of, only 11,000 miles. That's very close. So, and even so, even if this thing were to impact the area, it would probably burn up in the atmosphere. This is even a lot smaller than the Russian asteroid that kicked up here a few years ago. Remember a couple years back, quite a few videos floating around of that asteroid that I think a chunk of it did hit the ground over there in Russia. That was a little bit bigger deal compared to this one. The Russia meteor was about 19 meters in diameter, so that's a lot larger than the 3-meter asteroid that's super close to the Earth today. But nonetheless, I thought it was an interesting little model here. And this is just one that shows it being very close. Here's a couple other close approaches that were to take place, I guess. I mean, this is 2 million, almost 3 million miles from Earth. But that's a 100-foot asteroid. That was recently discovered as well. Looks like the next one here will be April 12th. But still, this is 2 million miles away. That's a distance. Not often do you see something that close. Even if you look on the let me go over here to the spaceweather.com site. They have it up there on their site, I believe. Yes, I'll leave there. Oh, look at those. Those are actually pretty cool over the Mount Etna area in Italy. Doing some of those beautiful smoke rings. I've seen a lot of those in pictures. So the asteroid encounters right here. Look at that. 0 lunar distances. Velocity, this thing's traveling pretty fast. Typical, right? 14.4 kilometers a second, 3 meters. There it is on their model. And there's really no concern over, even if this thing were to be like a specific impact here, it would burn up into a neat little fireball. Not for sure if you'd see it in the daytime or not, but at nighttime definitely. Yeah, and that's their model here that I just showed you guys over on this region, entering into roughly the same area, but just skimming it here. So I guess we'll find out here in an hour or so. Again, this is at about 1900 UTC time. The current time in UTC time is 1710. So we got like technically almost 2 hours, an hour and a half or so, somewhere around there. But interesting nonetheless. You can kick up all sorts of asteroids out here on this map. And it's neat to watch them. You know, these are all computer, what's the word I'm looking for? Computer forecasted, right? It'll track an asteroid and get its path and orbit, speed, and whatnot. And you can look way into the future, hundreds of years into the future, and see where these asteroids are going to be at. Here's the Apollo asteroids out here. Let's see if this pops it up on the map. Not for sure. There may be quite a bit. Looks like it's still loading. There may be a whole bunch. But anyway, folks, orbit reliable. Orbit object details, close encounter. Looks like this thing may be overused. It looks like it's kind of got a slow connection right now. All right, anyway, we'll I guess we'll just watch and see what happens here. Either way, you know, it's a pretty close encounter, I would say. 11,000 miles. Hopefully it doesn't hit any satellites up there. All right, earthquake activity. What's going on here for the earthquake world? Anything big going on this Thursday? Looks like largest magnitude here is going to be from yesterday at 5.2 in the Philippines. There's that 4.9 into the Indonesia Islands area this morning. Really nothing big going on here today in terms of larger scale movement. Looks like a typical day here on this planet. 1.6 and a 1.3 coming in to the just south of the Well, it looks like one's in California. Both of them are out here across the Southern California region here today. San Andreas Fault over here, the plate boundary. A couple smaller earthquakes right off the North American, or right off the plate boundary on the North American side here. Really no major swarms to speak of here today. Into the region of the Bay Area, that's one earthquake there from yesterday. That's going to be a 2.3. And it looks like they had another one here today as well near Berkeley. That's going to be a little 2-pointer, but overall, seismic activity out here across the states look fairly quiet. Some smaller movement out here across Mount St. Helens. That's been an ongoing thing here over the last few months or so. Really no major concern, though. It's not really kicking up in terms of the amount of earthquakes, or the magnitudes are very small microquake activity up there. Let's see here. What do we got for the Yellowstone area? See if anything else is going on up here. Yellowstone often sees earthquake swarms, but right now looks like things are fairly quiet. I do see one little earthquake over here. It's going to be this one right on the map there, on the graph. Very small earthquake. It did show up, though, on a few stations on the eastern side of the park. I guess that's going to be this one right here from yesterday, little 1.7. The rest of the country out here, typical movement out in Texas. I know they've seen a 4-pointer out here near the Big Spring area yesterday. A couple other smaller quakes in the region of this 4-pointer from yesterday as well. A lot of oil fields out here. This is the Permian Basin, that one of the more larger and known regions of oil fields. I was out here last year driving around, and there's just nothing but thousands upon thousands of oil fields. Each one of these little checkered boxes are literally oil pumping operation pads, wastewater disposal ponds out here in the blue. But as you can see, there's just thousands of them out here in this area. And, there's a lot of earthquake activity related to the oil and pumping operations out here. Seen a huge increase ever since the oil boom out here in the Texas area. Oklahoma up here as well. They've calmed down a little bit, but I think they put into some type of action up here to prevent, not to prevent, but to limit the amount of oil pumping operations up here. I can't remember. It was a few years back. We had a fairly large earthquake out here in this region, and it was due to oil and pumping operations, but they enacted something. I can't remember exactly what it was, but Texas out here still going strong with earthquakes, and still going strong with a lot of these oil fields, and that will continue, no doubt, for the future. Some of those can get pretty big as well, up in the 5 range. New Jersey area, looks like we had a couple more earthquakes here in the last 24 hours. A 1.7 shows the latest one here in this area. And that brings let's see what we got for a total tally out here. 51 earthquakes out in New Jersey. Of course, the largest one's going to be that 4.8 a few days ago, shaking things up out here around the White House Station area of New Jersey. Quite a few folks did report feeling this earthquake. And, of course, it is felt at a broader area compared to the West Coast due to the geology out here. The rock level out here is much older and colder. And, it allows for these waves, the seismic waves, to travel at a farther distance compared to the West Coast. Definitely has to do with the rock layers out here. So what do we got? 51 for a tally. 3 in the last 24 hours. Things calming down quite nicely out there for now. In the South America region, not for sure why there's a little piece of the ocean out here in the ocean view on this map, but a couple earthquakes from yesterday. Doesn't look like anything major going on out there today. Handful of smaller quakes in the vicinity of the Peru-Chile Trench. Same for the Middle America Trench up here as well. Japan, fairly quiet. A couple smaller quakes there from yesterday. There's a little bit of swarming going on here across the Indonesia area. That region did see a 6-pointer here recently across the area of the Tonga Trench and also the Vanuatu region. Looks like some earthquake activity there today. Couple quakes there. There's one deep one over around the Tonga Trench, almost 600 kilometers deep for that quake. Followed up by a little bit more shallower earthquake here across the Vanuatu area, so we'll continue to watch that. New Zealand down here, looks like they had a 4-pointer from yesterday on the plate boundary itself. So let's go see what's going on out here real quick. Stand by. Stand by, stand by. All right. So let's see, that's 3 days ago for a 4.1, but I don't think it was that long ago. 2.8, couple 2s in there. There's a 4-pointer way up along the Kermadec Trench. I wonder if they downgraded the magnitude. 4.5 from yesterday south of the South Island area. But I'm really not seeing that that one that supposedly took place out here recently. It shows 8:52 p.m., so that's from last night my time. Yeah, a little odd. Maybe it got deleted, maybe it got revised. I don't know. It does look like some activity, though, stirring up out here in the New Zealand region. I guess we'll check out the drum, see if we can spot it on the seismograph stations here across the South Island area. Maybe this one right here, but that doesn't look like a 4-pointer. Looks a lot smaller. All right, what else we got here? Hawaii, fairly quiet. If we look at the earthquake map here from the USGS, handful of earthquakes across the Kilauea volcano area, but really nothing major of concern. Still looking at some small earthquake activity out there, but let's see if they put out a recent update here today or not. You know, this was put out a couple days ago. They're doing weekly updates. Still shows that there's seen a little bit of seismicity out there in the region, but below the summit area. Most of these quakes are very, very small, typically below the 2.0 threshold. As far as deformation goes, with the magma accumulation underneath, there's a little spike right here, huge little spike. Not for sure what created that. I don't know if that's an instrument adjustment or what, but a little spike on that graph. Either way, last 30 days of inflation shows continued inflation, getting close to the level where we were at prior to the large displacement of magma from the summit off to the southwest rift zone back in the end of January, beginning of February. There's a lot of magma that was displaced. Now we're coming back up here in terms of the inflation, almost to the point there of the previous elevated level, but not quite. All right, Iceland, anything going on up there? Let's go check out the earthquake activity. They were having quite a bit there across the rift zones away from the Grindavik area. Today, most of the movement does look like it's, well, this is kind of east of the area of the current ongoing eruption. I believe that ongoing eruption is going to be right about here. So this earthquake activity a little ways away from it. Let's go to the live from Iceland site. They are the folks to watch here in terms of a visual perspective of the eruption. That's a very close in, zoomed in shot of the large crater that's producing that eruptive activity right now. Still a lot of fountaining going on there. Doesn't look like it's completely calmed down. Really no new major changes out here. Don't see anything else going on aside from this one active region. Far as any updates go, this one was put out a couple days ago. They were chatting about the well, this is from the Icelandic Met Office. They were chatting about the reduction here in the volume of lava that's pouring out from the crater. But we'll continue to watch it. As far as inflation goes, let's see. We haven't checked that in a few days. Let's see what we got for the Svartsengi area in terms of ground inflation. That's going to be right here. Vertical displacement. Notice kind of peaking up here a little bit. But we're still seeing that ongoing eruption there at the surface with inflation. So could have a couple regions down there blocked, only allowing a certain amount of magma up to the surface. But as long as we got that inflation going on here, I think this could continue for quite a while in terms of the surface activity taking place up there. All right, space weather activity. Do we have any signs of active regions? Goodness, look over here across the eastern limb. I believe that is some of the signs of that sunspot 3615. Let me check out the far side of the sun here real quick. Well, hold on a second. So this is put out, looks like yesterday. 3615 is actually down here on the southern hemisphere of the sun, way off the eastern limb. This is the eastern limb here. This is again, it looks like a day old. So this region is a little bit closer here to the eastern limb, and there's a couple other areas up there. I think it's 3614, and maybe a newer region that's showing some signs of being present out here. You can see all those large magnetic arches out there across this area. We'll have to watch that in the days ahead. It does look like space weather activity is going to be getting quite interesting here once again. We do have pretty large M flare coming in. Just recovering from that, actually, in M5.4. Uncertain onto exactly where it came from. I'm guessing maybe one of these regions out here. Let's see what we got for the a movie. See if it captured it or not. This goes back the last couple days. We're looking for a more recent event here at the end of this video. I'm assuming that it's going to be from one of these active regions here, the way that one of these images were oh, I didn't catch it. It looks like this one's a little late. Not late, but just hasn't updated yet. So, but yeah, it's a pretty decent size flare. M flare kicking up like that. Nothing on here from Kevin yet. Normally he'll post, well, oh, there it is, M5.4. Is that going to be it? Yeah, that's going to be it. Off on the limb, the eastern limb, from one of these active regions out here. That's why it looks like that. Just had a decent large explosion out there. So no doubt things are going to be getting active once again here in the space weather department. Current threat level looks like 50% chance for a C flare, M flare at 10, and less than 1% for the rest of the categories. I'm sure that will change here soon with the approaching active regions. That may have even been a little bit stronger of a flare. If it's picking up a large M flare out of sight here, then that could have been possibly an X flare way out there facing away from Earth and below the visible area of the sun here on this map. Either way, things are going to be getting a little on the interesting side out here. Kind of curious to see if our old friend 3615 here will continue to hold together. All right, what else we got? Any auroras in the forecast? Doesn't look like it. Things are green across the board, meaning things are quiet in the aurora department. Severe weather right now, limited to areas of the northeast and portions of Florida down here. Do have a chance for tornado probability out here. A 10% chance, so just a heads up if you're out there in these areas. Technically, if you're out in any of these, even the green zone, keep your eye on the sky for some severe weather out there today. It looks like mainly tornado and wind damage. Limited hail threat there confined across the Kentucky area and Ohio. After that, things are a little bit calmer until day 5. Looks like day 5, these guys are getting serious with a 30% chance for some severe weather out here across western Oklahoma, northern Texas, portions of Kansas as well. That 15% chance, though, extends way up and across the area. So we'll have to check back on that as we get closer. Again, this is going to be for Monday, this coming Monday, to start off the new week. Day 6 brings that severe weather a little bit further to the east there. So we'll cover that as we get a little bit closer to those dates. Here's today's severe weather threat and setup. We got one last warm day out here in California. It's supposed to be 85 degrees. I've been loving these nice warm temperatures, but we do have a little bit of colder weather coming in this weekend, along with some rainfall and snow up in the mountains there. Decent low pressure system for this time of year. That is going to be the culprit here, producing some severe weather as we enter into the new week for the Oklahoma and Texas area. Look at this. Low pressure keys up there and brings up a lot of potential severe weather. This setup here looks like it could be mainly tornado threats out here, the way this low pressure is centered out here along with the pull. We'll have to watch that pretty closely. And again, we'll cover that more as we get closer to Monday. Cold air back behind that. It's, there's a lot of green on the map here. A lot of low pressures and troughs kicking up here. Could spell some further severe weather threats out here for the remainder of April. Looks quite active, actually. But Monday, I think Monday's going to be a big deal. We'll watch that. All right, let's see here. What's the current UTC time? It is 17:30. So, it's this little asteroid here. Very small one. Definitely nothing of concern. But I do like to monitor and see how close these things get to the Earth, because a lot of times it could be off a little bit. It could get maybe some type of gravitational pull. It could actually end up hitting some space debris up there, or who knows what. But it's interesting as well, because there could be some other smaller particles behind that small asteroid or within the vicinity of it that could be viewable as a shooting star or whatnot. But anyway, I'm not going to cover this too much more, because it's either going to hit us or it's not. And if it does, then it's just going to make a neat little fireball in the sky and burn up. And that should take place here in the next hour. All right, folks, I'm going to jump off here, get outside, enjoy the rest of this warm weather. Planted a little garden out here. Hopefully the germination time for those seeds will kick in before the colder weather comes up here in a couple days. Well, actually, the colder weather comes tomorrow and the rest of the weekend. So not going to be a good weekend out here for outside activities. Temperatures, look at that, 70s right now. I got 68 here at my house, just outside of Chico, but a little bit later on this afternoon, it's supposed to be these guys showing low 80s, upper 70s, but I think it's going to be a little bit warmer than that. And then tomorrow, of course, we got some cooler weather coming in. You can already see the low pressure trough here, and Saturday is supposed to be cooler. Daytime highs out here in the California area around, I hope it's not in the 40s like that. I guess it is. Going to be an ice cold day. Alrighty, folks, we'll catch you guys back out here a little bit later. Make sure you subscribe. Click that notification bell for some further updates. And, if you got time, it's kind of interesting to mess with these orbital models. You can check out all sorts of asteroids and see close approaches and whatnot. No doom and gloom asteroids on the horizon for now. And then again, I don't even know if we'd be notified if that were to happen. But I'm sure it would. I'm sure it would leak out, right? Could you imagine a few people finding out about it and attempting to hide it? I don't think that would take place. I think someone would get the word out. Alrighty, folks, we'll catch you guys out here a little bit later. Take care.